Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me. I'm Rob. Let's talk about some Week 11 recaps.
Oh, yeah.
And the Giants not losing.
Maybe something else happened in the news today. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Someone got impatient and didn't get the memo that year 12 was going to be the year for Daniel Jones. Year 12 was going to be the year, goddammit. Year 12.
I thought it was 7.
Yes, it's not lucky 13. It's lucky 12. So yeah, we're going to go over the benching of Daniel Jones news, of course, for you guys. And, of course, we're going to also do our regular scheduled program we had here for today as well. We're going to do our idea of how to fix the New York Giants here with an off-season plan. So, I actually got the idea of the NFL Stock Exchange that did a thing on that. And they do some good videos, guys, but they don't do the Giants. And there was definitely some things that I think they did that I necessarily would do myself at that point that Rob would do himself. And, you know, we're Giants fans. We follow the Giants nonstop. So we know a little bit more than an NFL fan about the Giants. So let's go over first, though, the big news for the day, guys. And listen, it really shouldn't come as a surprise. It just might be a surprise that it was today. But in the end,
I mean, we kind of been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, we have been. And it's Jones is out and DeVito is starting official, guys. And listen, we've been asking for this for a while. Rob and I have been saying we want DeVito to start. We think he's better than Drew Lock. We didn't expect this to happen here like that. We thought I thought Drew Lock would be the guy to start, but I'm very glad he's not. Very glad he's not. So we're going to get into some news on this and also quotes. But before we do that, we're going to do a nice introduction here to our new starting quarterback, the New York Giants.
Sometimes the expensive option doesn't work. Sometimes the situation calls for man who came out of nowhere, a man who loves his mother's chicken cutlets, a man whose agent dresses like a cartoon spy. His name is Tommy DeVito, a.k.a. Tommy Cutlets, a.k.a. the Giants' new starting quarterback.
Oh, yes, there he is. Listen, expect all the news loops now for this coming back into fashion now, the hand gesture. Expect the parents to be a big deal again. Expect Sean, the agent, to be a big deal again. Who really does dress like a cartoon spy. I'm sorry.
He really does.
He does. Like it's like I expect him to make an extra in the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie if they ever remake that again.
I was about to say it's like a third spy versus spy.
Spy versus spy versus spy.
Yeah. You know what's amazing? Tommy Cutlets comes out of town just for a nice Italian Thanksgiving where he can go like this, to this.
Oh, yes. Well, I thought a thing on TikTok that they were saying what this is.
Bafangool.
No. Look at sideways when you do it. It's the duck is dead. Like you're strangling a duck. I don't think it's that. I was like, oh my God, it kind of does look like a duck.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about Jones and
Choking a chicken.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Ian Rapoport started it off today on Twitter/X, whatever the hell you want to call it. It said sources: the Giants are benching quarterback Daniel Jones, officially moving on from their starter. Out of the bye week with the team 2-8, Jones now heads to the bench in what the team has said would be a football decision. That's, of course, alluding to the fact that going into the bye week, Joe Shane and Brian Daboll both said they'd make a football decision, not a money situation issue. Let's be honest.
Which both are head hands.
Yeah, but we both know that money and football both were probably included in the decision. Today, Brian Daboll came out with a statement to the press, said, after evaluating a bunch of things and looking at a lot of tape and being around Tommy last year, where he created a little bit of a spark for us, that's the reason why we're going with Tommy. Drew will be the backup, continue to work with him. He's been nothing but a pro, as was Daniel. It's never an easy conversation to have with the players, but felt this was a necessary move for us and look forward to working with Tommy and getting him ready to go against Tampa. Now, I think there's one very big key statement to this. Drew will be the backup. I'm going to be the backup quarterback, according to head coach Brian Daboll. This was news to me, guys. I'm just saying I have to still sign with an agent. I have to go ahead and do my physical, which I will fail miserably.
Yeah.
He failed the stress test.
Yeah, mental health is hard. Did you not read the whole full contract?
Yeah. But, guys, the big thing is the fact that DeVito is starting over lock. I think that was the really shocker of this whole thing. It's not the wrong move by any shake of the imagination, but it's definitely a little bit of a shocker, I would say.
I think the bigger shocker to me is that they just said that, not only did they bench Daniel Jones, he's not the backup.
No.
That to me is the bigger shocker. It's like,
well, we've calling for that for weeks now. We've been saying that forever. They're doing it right.
We haven't, but I thought maybe they're going to ease into this, and possibly do hey, Drew Lock, we picked you up as the backup, and Tommy Cutlets, hey, listen, we told you you're third string from the get-go. Here's your chance to be the backup. And at some point, in this equation, you also have to kind of consider, there's a possibility where DJ should have been called the backup because he's getting benched. No, you're going right to third string. You're going right past go. Do not collect $200. Do not collect $200. Do not collect $23 million.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. You just said right there. I mean, he's got the injury clause, $23 million injury clause. The Giants just don't want to pay. It makes absolutely no sense to have him as the backup. It makes no sense to have him as a starter, both for football reasons based on how we've been playing for the last 2 years, but also for, the monetary reasons. You don't want to lose $23 million, guys. That's a ton of money, even for a guy like John Marin and Steve Tisch. That's a lot of money.
You're also talking about the cap, no?
Honestly, that's probably the bigger issue, obviously. I mean,
yeah,
I think there's plenty of teams out there that would spend way beyond the cap if there was no cap.
100%.
And I think the Giants are one of them. They make enough money there. New York market, they make tons of money compared to a team like the Saints, for example, or the Falcons, or the Broncos. There's teams that they just have more access to money, which is why they have the cap, and I'm glad they do because it helps create the parity in this league that it has. But Spotrac also suggested that the money may be partly why the Giants are going with DeVito over Lock. He had in his contract locked in incentives that were really millions of dollars there based on playing time, stats for himself there, and also based on a playoff berth. But I think we're safe from having to pay that. I think that's that we're recording.
Yeah.
But there were things like get a certain amount of yards, a certain amount of touchdowns, a certain amount of quarterback rating, a certain amount of playing time, which that kind of stuff he could have potentially hit, some of it at the very least. And let's be honest, the Giants don't have a ton of money, guys. They're making decisions based on money, even though they're trying to say otherwise. They can't afford to pay more because the more they pay, the less they have. They only have $3 million against the cap, which means they would have had to potentially make moves just to afford to pay the incentives. But this is the right move, guys. Point blank. This is the right move.
And once again,
it's the better potential quarterback.
We've been saying this for a long time.
Oh, yes.
This is the move. Listen, DeVito, yes, you came in undrafted. You're a free agent. We were pleasantly surprised what you did last year for us. Fantastic. We also seen what Drew Lock has done as their first overall draft. Yeah, first round draft pick. And
second round pick.
Yeah, well, that's what took it back. He was the first round, not first overall.
No,
first
second round pick.
Oh, he's the second round?
Second round pick.
To the Broncos. And yeah, they got ties with him pretty fast.
Yeah. And because there's not much money involved. I mean, and Seattle cut ties. And I mean, cut ties, they were willing to bring him back, but the Giants were willing to overpay comparatively. I mean,
yeah,
that's part of this situation too. Is how upset would you be if you're Drew Lock? You sign on with the Giants. Beginning of the year, it starts off this talk of, maybe Drew Lock's gonna have a chance. Drew Lock could start. There's even talks would Drew Lock beat out Daniel Jones going into camp? That was a conversation people were having.
Yeah,
and a lot of that, granted, is the fact that people hate Jones. Let's be honest, but
Well, yeah, that's part of the hater clause there.
That's the hater clause. I mean,
yeah,
you can't hate Jones. I'm sorry, you can't hate Jones. The guy has busted his hump. He's just not good. You can't hate a guy for just not having the ability. Like, that's not on him. He's trying. He just sucks. Like, put it bluntly, that's just what it is. But, you know, people want to hate on him. But I kind of feel bad for Drew Lock a little bit, to be honest, because, you know, he came here with the rumors being that he could have a chance to play. And now here's that chance to play. And it's going to Tommy DeVito. And this is a guy who doesn't want to probably be a career backup. He was probably hoping for a chance to prove himself in this league. And, guys, this is the chance to prove yourself right now. For DeVito. I mean, we've said forever, I still think this team is a quarterback away. Well, guess what? We have a new quarterback. And that's not to suggest that DeVito is the long-term answer. He's definitely not.
No.
I think he's a long-term backup answer, maybe. Yeah, I think it's a fair statement. But we're going to find out exactly what he is. But let's put yourself in Drew Lock, though, for a second, his shoes. Let's say Tommy DeVito blows out of the water, okay? He plays absolutely amazing. How pissed are you then, even? Like, you're pissed right now, but every single time DeVito throws the ball downfield, every time the team wins, you got to feel like something is, you know, taken from you to a certain degree. And if it is for cap reasons, well, I don't think it just is for cap reasons, personally. I think it's also because he played like crap in the preseason. He played like crap in the time he had against the Eagles. But yeah, I think the big thing is like that's part of the story too, as well, is I gotta feel bad for Drew Lock in this whole scenario.
Yeah.
But it's the right move, though.
At the end of the day, 100%, like when you're talking about cap space in general, football decisions, this is the right move.
Cap-wise, football-wise, even, I still think DeVito is a better quarterback than Lock.
I mean, there's a reason why he came as the backup.
Who, Lock?
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to put an actual quarterback in there that would compete with Daniel Jones. Let's be honest, guys.
But was better than DeVito than what they thought.
I'm not so sure on that. I wasn't so sure when he signed him he was better than DeVito.
I said the same thing, but there's also, we're not in the coaching room. We're not, you know, the coaching staff. We're not in the medical staff. We don't know what's going on back there. Like, I think this is the best opportunity for the Giants for the 2025 season.
Well, for the 2024 season, to be honest, it could be the worst decision for the Giants for the 25 season. Because this could be like last year all over again. Giants start winning a couple of games. We start losing our draft pick status. Like, that's a possibility in this whole thing as well. But I've said it before, and I will say it again, guys. I want to win. I don't give a damn about the draft in the end, because I think losing causes more issues than people realize in a locker room. And let's be honest, guys. If we lose, we're not just out Daniel Jones. We're probably out the entire front office. We're in a complete rebuild at that point. And I still don't think this team needs a complete rebuild. I just think it needs a quarterback. And I know that losing makes it more difficult to get a quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But, guys, do you really think this team's going to go on a run all of a sudden of, like, 9 wins in a row or something crazy?
Especially since there's not 9 games left in the season.
Like, you know what I mean? I was doing man. 7 wins? There's 7 games left. What week is this? I don't even know anymore.
It's week 11, man. It's week 11.
Like, we're not going to go 9-8, guys. Like, it's not going to happen. And in the end, the Giants, if they like a quarterback enough, they will do whatever they have to do to trade up for him, because they have no choice this year. Last year, they had the option in their head because they still had DJ. There's no option this time. If you like a quarterback, you do what the hell you got to do to get up there. Especially because, for all you know, it's a quarterback team. Like, a team that already has a quarterback, like Jacksonville, for example, who currently has the number 1 overall pick, I believe, and has the per plus Daniel Jones that, quite frankly, they're not going to get rid of because they just signed the man. They're where we were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The light is at the end of our tunnel, guys. The light is there. Okay? Go into the lights in this case. It's not a train in a tunnel. We're okay. We got this. You want to win some games. You want to get things going better. You want to not be the laughing stock of this league. And then you want to let the chips lie where they lie with the draft, because we have the ability to go out and get a quarterback in the draft still if we want one. There's plenty of football left to be played, guys. We may like one of the other guys that aren't one of the big 2. We may say, you know what, we want Cam Ward, a Shedeur Sanders, and we're going to give up whatever the hell we have to give up to get them. In the end, wins are important. They are. Especially because, let's say, for example, you're the Giants, and you go, let's say, 2-15 of the season, something crazy like that. We lose out the rest of the way. Do you think Deion's going to want Shedeur Sanders coming here? And you know there's going to be issues there. You know I'm right in this.
100%.
So, I mean, that's one of those things that people think it's much more simple than it really is. It's not as simple as people think. So, now, Brian Daboll also alluded to the fact that other changes were coming as well. He said personnel groups, offensively or defensively, a lot less than this. Obviously, when you just see the quarterback situation, but there'll be different guys mixing in and out, and we'll take a look at some of these guys that have done a nice job since they've been here. Maybe they haven't had as many reps, or we implement them into some personnel groups. That we'll do here over the next couple of days when we get ready for Tampa, is to decide where these guys fit. Translation to a very verbiage used, nice and simple. If you're young, we're going to play you.
100%.
That's what he's basically saying. I need to find out what I got here at these young guys. That's what he's saying.
Yep.
So expect Jalen Hyatt to be in a lot more. Watch him start taking snaps away from Daniel Jones, from Darius Slayton. Watch, you see more of the younger corners, and Adoree Jackson probably getting less time. Watch like a guy like Jake Kubas, the North Dakota State was that, I believe, the undrafted rookie free agent that I know the Giants are pretty high on him. They like the way he's been in practice. If you notice, he's been on the roster. He's been inactivated each game. He's been on the roster to go ahead and make sure nobody else takes him. I expect to see him as well. There's moves coming at that point, guys. They're going to go ahead and see what they got with these young guns. They want to see and they need to see. So expect to see some moves there. All right, guys. So, as Deb says real quick, Panthers made the deal to be number one in the draft early. Maybe we do something like that. That's possible. Anything is possible. Like I said, people act like we win some games. There's no way we can get the quarterback. I'm not buying that. I'm not.
Hey, listen, I mean, after this weekend, we'll go over later, but it looks like Denver might have their right quarterback.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Let's get into how to fix the Giants, guys. Like I said, I'm not going to take credit for this as if I came up with this idea or Rob came up with this idea. This was something that the NFL the NFL Stock Exchange went ahead and did. They've been doing a whole series on this. And like I said, I just thought, hey, Giants fans, we can do this better. No offense to them. They didn't do a horrible job, but I think there's some moves they may not be aware of as much because of the fact that they are NFL, channel, not a Giants channel. So this is what we're doing in response to it. So now we're going to go ahead and do it kind of bit by bit for you guys so we can go over each topic. I should say we're going to have this off season, probably the best way to put it. So first thing in fixing the Giants, keeping Daboll. Because that's a big question this offseason's coming. Now, the report came out today from Jordan Schultz on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. He said, sources, while ownership has suggested he'll return, there's a growing sense that Giants head coach Brian Daboll is coaching for his job over the final 7 games. That's part of why he chose Tommy DeVito over Drew Lock as the starting quarterback. Now, there was also an issue with Darius Slayton this past weekend, liking a comment about Nick McCloud stating he's free now from the team. So there's questions, guys, going around this team. Does Daboll have control over this team? Is Daboll the best guy with the offense going forward, or was his offensive prowess overstated because of the success of Josh Allen that may or not have been part of him? We still don't know that fully. There's questions here, guys. And Rob, my crazy, but 3 years later, but those questions are still there, and they're still valid, probably, aren't they? I mean,
100% still there, still valid. I mean, yeah. Sorry.
What?
Sorry. Get notifications on all over the place here.
Notifications.
Notifications. Sad part of a live podcast. Sorry. Yeah, no, there's Brian Daboll. I think you have to give the guy another shot. Like you have to. From what he had to work with, he's shown a lot. Like he has not lost the locker room, like you said. He's actually kept the locker room together for quite a bit.
I think considering
I consider like what has gone on the past couple of years. He's done a great job keeping guys playing to the end. Like there was no need for the Giants to beat the Eagles. Week 18 last year. Well, we did. We did, knocked him out of the number one spot over there. So yeah, he needs to stay. But if you make him stay, obviously, like he stays, you're probably going to keep him for another 3 years. Probably 2 at minute.
You're going to draft a quarterback and then change his coach the next year?
Yeah. So that's something that you have to think about. Like you have to see how he plays and what he does with for the rest of the year. Like you said, he's going to put the young guys in and see how they play and evaluate the players. And that's something the Mara family and the Tisch family is going to have to look into and be like, do we keep him or don't we? Do we trust him?
Yep. Should he stay or should he go now? And I think that's the big thing is that you hit the nail on the head there talking about you're keeping him probably for a little while, potentially no matter what, if that happens, because we're going to draft a quarterback. This is the guy who's supposed to be a quarterback guru. And, you're going to draft the guy and then fire the head coach the next year? Like, that's not a good move. If you're going to start fresh.
100%.
If you're not going to, then stick to the plan and keep it going there. And problem you run into is we don't have access, and even the media people, they keep it toned down, obviously, when the media's in the locker room. We don't know what's going on in that locker room. We don't. Let's be honest, guys. We have not a single clue. I know people love to sit there and say, oh, well, this is going on. You have no clue unless you're in there. And we got to, I think that ownership has to have the idea of knowing what's going on in that locker. Because I really think what's going to happen is you keep Daboll and Shane or you keep neither. And we'll talk about Shane in a minute here, but it's like
they're packaged deal.
Fresh or you stick to the plan. And a lot of the sticking to the plan, to me, depends on a few things. What do you think of Brian Daboll as far as a guy to keep the locker room together? What do you think of him as the guy to go ahead and get the quarterback that you're going to draft to the level he has to be? And the third thing that I don't think is being talked about enough is what do you think about Brian Daboll being able to attract talent along with him? Because Mike Kafka is going to be gone here this year, guys. Let's be very frank on that. Mike Kafka is gone. His bags are already packed. He cannot wait to get into Dodge.
He already bought his 24 sticker.
Yeah, like he is ready to go. And that being the case, then we need to get a new offensive coordinator. And you can't just get any offensive coordinator. You have to get somebody who is going to be has been a very good quarterback coach or somebody who's been a good offensive coordinator in the league already. You can't just hire Joe Schmo off the streets for that kind of job, especially with a rookie quarterback. Because, again, you mentioned the 3-year thing. You want to have continuity with a young quarterback. You want to be the only reason I have to give up my offensive coordinator is because somebody wants to hire him for a head coach because of how good a job he did with this kid.
Yep.
That's what you want. Now, we mentioned before in the show, and I'll mention it again, Davis Webb, I think, is a decent option there. He's a quarterback coach right now for the Broncos, obviously doing pretty decent there with the job they're doing there with Bo Nix over there, who's, I think, exceeding expectations for himself there. That's maybe an option there, but if you're Mara, if you're Tisch, you have to hear, okay, this is the plan. This is why I'm the guy for this job. I'm going to do this and this with the quarterback, and I'm going to do this and this with the analytic approach to how I'm going to pick a quarterback, because that's a very important part of this as well. Do you trust this guy to be one of the loudest members of the room when they're talking about what quarterback to pick? And then you got to talk to the players and see what they think. And I don't know. I know. Listen, Mara likes to not meddle, I think, a lot more than people give him credit for. I think honestly, he's got a bad rep right now with the fans, mostly because of the fact that he's the one consistent. He's the one steady guy that's been around since the losing started. Also around for the
it's also kind of fair, but yeah.
Some of it is, but I mean, Look at, again, all stage we know, but let's be honest, he wanted to keep Saquon. Saquon in here.
That's what I was about to say. You just look at Hardwicks.
He could have meddled a lot more than people give him credit for meddling, not meddling. Unless he played a role, he wanted Saquon to go on too, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to make okay, I don't meddle. Like, who knows?
Touche.
It's
I'm
TV.
not. Yep.
TV.
But say I'm not in Hollywood. I'm not in New York.
But yeah,
I'm also not, a camera guy.
But he's got to sit down with the players and get involved this offseason early on. Find out what they actually think about Brian Daboll. And he's got to actually have a heart-to-heart with these guys and figure that out, because if he's the guy, like you said, he's going to have to be the guy for a while. And that's something we need to figure out. So let's move on to, are we keeping Joe Schoen? Because that's also a key part of this as well. Now, usually what will happen is if you fire the GM, you fire the coach. If you fire the coach, you may not fire the GM. Usually the GM gets a little longer leash than the coach does for whatever reason. Like we talked about a minute ago, we talked about Daboll. I think personally these two are absolutely attached to the hip, though. I think if one goes, they both go. And you start fresh and new. Because Joe Schoen's had 3 years, guys. Can you honestly sit here and tell me this roster is in much better shape than it was 3 years ago? I don't know.
The roster itself or the
roster? That's what he's involved with. He's not the coach. He's just it's like the tune that said back in the day there when Parcells said, if I'm gonna be expected to cook the dinner, I should go ahead and shop for the groceries. No. Daboll has to cook the dinner. Shane's getting the groceries.
Then yes.
Yeah.
Player-wise, yes.
And I
100% yes.
What I want to see is, we talked about the report that Jordan Schultz said about, Daboll basically coaching for his job for the next 7 games. I don't think he's coaching for his job at all. I think he's coaching for both their jobs, because I think Joe Schoen is going to be judged by how these players look, because this is his roster. It's been 3 years now. This is not Gettleman's people anymore, except for some of the big guns out there, the Andrew Thomases, the Dexter Lawrences, those guys. But, otherwise, look at the big names that are out there. You got a rebuilt offensive line. That's Joe Schoen. You got Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors, Joe Schoen.
Yeah, I was about to say, you want to take that offensive line, the 5 collective. Yeah. You look at it, and
4 to 5.
You're ranked what? 28 when Joe Schoen came in. We were ranked at 17 last week or whatever it was.
Yeah, before Thomas got hurt.
Like, big improvement, like you said.
Yeah.
Do we have a Neighbors? Do we have a generation talent? Do we have a guy that can go out there? Wan'Dale. Do we have such a great guy in the slot? We had Shep, but Shep couldn't stay healthy. So, he was older. Like, who else was out there receiving for us?
Yep.
Like, the only thing you can make of is maybe corners.
Yeah, but that's where we can get into the conversation of has Joe Schoen ignored some of the big spots in this roster, and is that part of the issue? Look at like you mentioned, corner Deonte Banks. We threw Deonte Banks out on an island, basically saying you're the number 1 corner. There's no other option. That's it. You're gonna fall flat in your face, or that's it. And that's not a good way to build a roster. Is to not have a fallback option. We look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones fell on his face. There is no fallback option when Drew Lock the safe pick.
No, I'm gonna disagree. I get what you're saying, but when it comes to making the right moves, did he fall short on certain key spots? Maybe, but when you really take poop, let's call it what it is, diarrhea, and tell me you make it into a diamond, you're gonna have to do a lot of work. And not necessarily the whole time you have to concentrate on this spot, because the whole collective thing's a mess.
Yeah.
So, yes, the corner room needs to be improved. But it also has to be improved, the whole defensive line. Did it improve? Yes. Did the offensive line improve? Yes. That was also garbage. For how long?
Yep.
All right. The receivers, when he came in, were they a mess? Yes.
Oh, yes.
Quarterback play, was it a mess when he came in? Yeah, pretty much. But there was also, a diamond in the rough there. And he made the right choice at the time, which in hindsight, you could pick at it now. But the hindsight, 85 to 90% of Giant fans agreed with the decision. You had to do it because 2 years
Right.
later, you get rid of Jones.
Yep.
All right, running back position. Is it improved or is it better? Is it better or is it
financially
worse?
improved. It's financially improved.
Financially improved. You're right. You also
Well,
got
actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I'm not
No,
going to
it's
say it's financially improved because he gave $6 million to Devin Singletary.
Okay, so you got 4 running backs for $13 million.
Yeah, but there's a difference when you talk financially. It's not just what you're paying; it's what you get for what you pay. I'm not looking for the cheapest. I'm looking for the best value.
I understand what you're saying, but also that's also hindsight because Barkley's balling out this year right now, and we call that,
as we said.
But we call that. But next year, if he gets hurt week 3 and Tracy goes along and be top 7 in the league with running yards, and
yeah, but I guarantee
touchdowns.
you, no one thought Tracy's going to be. Even the Giants couldn't have thought he's going to be what he is.
No.
But I mean, Joe Shane though gets a lot of praise, as he should though, for this draft class. I mean, all around, you got stars all over the place there on this team. Like, I guess it's stars for this team, not for the NFL. I'm not trying to overplay that, but I mean, Neighbors is a true NFL star. Tyrone Tracy's leading all rookie running backs in yards. You got all kinds of good play. Drew Phillips on redrafts is going in the first round now. Theo Johnson started to show up a little bit there. Tyler Newman's been looking good. I mean, this has been an excellent draft class. But you still can't ignore the fact that he had 2 bad draft classes leading up to that. We've already cut a few players that he drafted. And again, this is not year 3 up, we're going to year 4. This is in the midst of year 3. Marcus McKeith only lasted 2 seasons, got cut. Javaris Owens got cut here mid-season from just the practice squad. It wasn't on the roster at that point. Josh Azuda, we've been asking for him to get cut for a while because he's not that good. Evan Neal, who was a first-round pick, let's be honest, played better this last week, but there was a chance he would have gotten cut if he was like a 3rd, 4th-round pick just based on how he's playing.
100%.
There's definitely questions you can make. Kayvon Thibodeau, has he lived up to the 5th round, 5th overall pick? That's a legit question to ask. He had a lot of sacks last year, but they also had a very high rate of pressure to sack ratio, where some of that's probably the luck of him feasting on bad offensive lines. But like I said, there's a lot of questions to the drafting overall. I'm not going to hit on, the Darren Waller thing. Now, some people like to hate on him for that. I don't care personally because you took a shot with a 3rd round pick. You give me a 3rd round pick and give me a potential all-pro tight end, I'll take that.
100%. There's
it worked out. It's still not a bad trade.
I think, listen, the draft is a gamble. It's 100% a gamble for a lot of players. And you're right. The first couple of years wasn't the best. But also, we said it 2 years ago, Tibbs was like absolutely like a steal for what we got. We lied to get him. Like, not only did the Giants fans, but coaches around the league fell into like, is he that great? Can he be that great? Same with Evan Neal. Like, let's not be wrong. Like,
we're both like that.
Yeah, let's not fool ourselves. Like, because we're looking at hindsight. But what he also did was said, hey, from the get-go, I'm not going to spend money. We need to rebuild. We need to, decrease cap space.
Yeah.
And start reworking things. And like what he's done is he started doing that, and they start bringing in players the past year and a half after clearing cap space. And he brought in some good players. And granted, once again, we talk about Waller. Don't blame the guy because you took a shot. You took a shot on a guy that could have been, he was on pace to be like a Travis Kelce did last year. So if you get that on a Giants team,
but here's the thing, though. You mentioned the cap space. There's no cap space in this team right now, and the whole reason we don't have the cap space is because we signed a lot of players. Like we signed, John Runyon Jr. to a big contract. We signed Jermaine Illuminor to a bigger contract. We signed Greg Van Roten late in the year there. There's 3 guys we signed. Now, the reason we signed those guys, let's be very frank, is because Josh Azuda sucks. Marcus McKeith has sucked. Evan Neal hasn't lived up to the hype. The reason we had to spend that money is because of draft mistakes. And
I'm also going to rebuttal that too, because there's not that many players that come out of the draft that come out studs on that line. No. So
JMS is a perfect example. He's been getting better over time. The other guys I mentioned have not. And that's the difference what I'm saying. We missed on guys, and we reached for some. Let's be honest, Josh Azuda was not a 3rd round pick.
No, he wasn't.
Not a good round pick.
But you also can't build a house out of cards. You have to build the foundation, and then you can put the cards on there.
That's like trying to build a house out of popsicle sticks. So the way these guys are
playing. The cards are way worse than popsicle sticks, but yes. But I'm saying, like, if you have cards, if you have nothing but turds around you, the ability for you to become better is shit. Like, let's be real here.
Like, we have to be realistic about those issues. There's not.
We do.
This is not an anti-Shane. This is not a pro-Shane. There's legitimately both of them. But you know what my biggest concern is going to be with him right now is how much of this is John Mara going to be pissed off about the Saquon thing still. I keep going back to Hard Knocks, and I see I'm going to be upset if he goes to Philadelphia. He's a really popular player. He's really good. And then what do we see? We see this guy like backwards leapfrogging players. Almost breaking his career best in yards in a game, but didn't get it only because he sat down for the whole fourth quarter against the Giants. Like, there's some things that he said and did this offseason while he was on camera that are questionable. I mean, he tried to make Saquon look the villain. He really trashed Saquon publicly by doing it when he knows cameras there for Hard Knocks. Some of that I think is going to bite him in the butt. So I'm telling you, let's say, for example, I was a player and then I had to decide where I was going to sign. And this is what I saw last year. Watching HBO, because I don't think the NFL guys don't watch that stuff. They do. And this is what I see. And then Joe Shane's calling me, hey, I'd love to have you as a New York Giant. Like, would you? Because you were a dick to Saquon.
And you're wrong, but also, we're seeing what's happening on TV. We also don't see what happens behind closed doors for how many other teams. So, like, I can guarantee you, like, Shane could have been respectful and still said that in a nice manner, compared to, like, yeah, you're gone, bomb. Like, let's go. Like, no way we're going to pay that. Like, so there's both sides that you could take there. Like, yeah, he could have been, like, a dick to the camera and came across as dick, but he also, like, we don't see how it is behind closed doors. Like, you're talking about a league that's high competition, like, always playing to the top. Like, it's cutthroat. So, like, people could just sit there and, like, yes, Shane came off very transactional and, like, made it, like, more like his bank statement than a human being involved. But he's definitely not the only guy out there doing that.
No, I'm not suggesting that by any stretch of imagination.
I know that, but I'm saying, like, so, like, so players and veterans around the league understand that. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, sometimes you can see that and be like, that's the name of the game. It's
you can still understand that, and we've all had bosses like that, but you choose who you want to work for based on that kind of stuff as well. And when you're a free agent, you have that decision to make.
But I'm saying maybe 30 teams out of the league act more like Shane than the other two.
I don't know what the ratio is. All I know is that I feel like if he acts that way when the cameras are on, imagine when the cameras are off.
Yeah, I mean, once again, that go both ways because either he's the guy that loves his peanut butter jelly sandwiches, and I
guarantee you that,
and wants to be down to earth all he wants, and he just wants to see a little bit more of it.
Got a silver camera caviar sitting there in the pasture.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, he came off very fake. He came off very phony. He came off very pompous, very, sure and full of himself. And I wonder if some of that's going to come back to bite him, especially with the stuff with Saquon, given what Mara thought of Saquon. So we'll have to find out. But again, I think he's playing for his job as much as Daboll is for his at that point there. I think that how this team reacts with DeVito in there and with not having the guy who's got all the blame in Jones, then we're going to find out real quick what this team is. And that's going to probably determine fully what happens with Shane. And what happens with Shane will probably determine what happens with Daboll. That's my personal opinion. So, all right, let's get to the next step in fixing the Giants. You know what you can't fix a problem if you don't do?
Paying the bills.
Got to establish the problem. We'll pay the bills later. Got to establish the problem. So, and we're talking just the roster right now. Just the roster. So, I think the obvious issue is obviously going to be the quarterback. Let's be honest here. We're starting the show talking about the switch over from Jones to DeVito. DeVito's not the full-time answer. So obviously, we fully expect that Jones is going to get cut. Drew Lock is going to be a free agent. Tommy DeVito is going to be a free agent. So we got to establish a problem, establish a plan there. So, I mean, to me, we got to sign a veteran quarterback, and we have to draft a quarterback that can be our quarterback in the future. It sounds much more simple than it's going to be. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's the ideal plan.
Yeah,
kind of a Kurt Warner, Eli Manning kind of thing. That was the perfect example.
100%.
That's perfect. Let Warner play. He started the year. Eli didn't get forced out there. Unfortunately, I still think if those of y'all remember old enough to remember 20 years ago when Eli was first starting out, the Giants were actually playing better than expected. And they put Eli in mostly because they didn't want to have a quarterback battle of people. Some people actually started to like Warner enough they wanted to compete around long term. But, you bring a guy in for a little while. We'll talk about some names later on. But you bring a guy in and you let him start. And you let him, you let the new guy learn. And you let him be a rookie and coach him up and put him in when he's ready, when the situation is right. So
100%. Winston looking at you. So Daboll will be like, do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, do that.
We will pay you $5 million and 5 pounds of snow crabs. Next issue we got there, we got established as an issue is outside corner. We talked about the issues before. Deonte Banks obviously been a very disappointing player this year, and he's been to CB1. CB1 has been the issue, but CB2 has also been an issue. Let's be honest, guys. We have multiple people at the position. One of the guys that played the position, started the position at the beginning of the year, isn't on the team anymore. We cut him. That's an issue. That's an issue. My mic working, by the way, because Dwayne said my mic is not working.
I've heard you the whole time, so
okay.
News to me.
If anybody else isn't here, let me know. But that's an issue.
Be a very one-sided podcast if no one else can hear you but me.
I do think that Banks should move to CB2, and I think that there should be an insurance plan also though in place for him. I think that's the big thing is that put Banks at number 2 where I think he deserves to be, and have a backup plan in case you have to bench Banks because of the issues like you had this year. He's a first-round pick. You don't want to necessarily move on from him after 2 years. It's hard for us to give a full-on idea, though, without knowing what happened exactly while we benched him. We just don't know. Fully what happened there. Give me 1 second here because he's saying it's not coming out of the mic correctly.
Yeah. So I mean, when it comes to Banks, like you said,
can you hear me now?
No. Oh, you went way off the grid there. Turn up your volume.
Turn down for what?
Turn down for what? What?
I guess you can hear me now.
Yeah. Just turn up your volume on the mic.
It's set where it was usually.
All right. Sounds way better, by the way.
There we go.
All right. But yeah, you're talking about Banks. Yeah, you kind of have to put him out there as CB2, but with someone that's a veteran that could coach this guy up a little bit and show him how to be number 1 and let them kind of fight for that number 1 spot because you don't want to discourage him. You brought him there to be the number 1, but he's also faced some really tough, wide receivers once.
Why is he facing the running backs?
That's crazy. But your wide receivers out there, let's talk about Scary Terry might have been one of his easier matchups this year when you talk about playing JJ week 1.
But I don't think the issue is who he's facing. The issue is the energy he's playing with, the attitude issues it seems like he had in the sidelines. So
I get what you're saying, but also, all right, so the toughest part of the defense is covering these top flight receivers. You're putting this rookie out there to cover these top flight guys, top 10 guys in the league, which he probably 8 of the top 10 wide receivers thus far this year he's faced. Let's say give him some credit, 6, right? That's pretty tough over 10 weeks. It's a high percentage. So you're going out there, you're constantly running against the best in the league and a very poor cornerback room. Your defense is doing great. Your offense can't keep you off the field. Like, hopefully, you would hope your offense keeps the defense off the field. That's not happening. So you're constantly go back out there, and you feel like, what are you putting this energy out for? So, like, I get some of that, but, like, also at the same time, you're a competitor. You fight to the end. That's exactly what you do. But
yeah, like I said, I just think that you give them a shot, you don't give up on them.
100%. And I agree with that. Like, it's
but you also can't plan for them. Does that make sense either?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to bring in someone else that fights for that number one spot. Yeah, and it's fine. Well, even if they go back and forth, and if you bring a veteran guy that help coach him up.
I wouldn't even have a guy to fight with the CB1 position. I would point blank put somebody that we know can be CB1. Like, honestly, those guys don't grow on trees. But I would point blank just bring somebody we think can be CB1 and say, you know what, Banks, you got to earn this back. We handed it to you last year. That was a mistake. You got to earn it back.
So you're saying bring back Eli Apple.
Yes, exactly. Let's talk about the defensive line here, because obviously, we got Dexter Lawrence, absolute stud, best nose tackle in the NFL. Long be one of the best defensive players overall in the NFL there, point blank. But otherwise, this group really has not performed. Rob and I were sounding the alarm for this group before the season started. We thought that people were mentioning the secondary nonstop, but they didn't want to talk about this group for some reason. This group has been bad. Point blank.
That's because you had the number one.
we need run stoppers, especially, but at least players that can go ahead and take on blocks and free up the linebackers. It's been a very disappointing group as a whole, guys. It's when you bring a guy in mid-season that also like, ooh, he looks good, or undrafted rookie free agent, like, ooh, like a lot of this is because of how bad this group is.
Yeah,
doesn't take much to stand out amongst this group of DJ Davidsons and all those kind of guys. It's not a good group. We gotta improve it, because teams are running all over the place on us. We have nothing to stop them. It's got to get figured out. Then we got wide receiver, which is a group that could develop into a need, depending on what happens with Darius Slayton. We'll talk about free agency in a little bit there, but he's a free agent. Jalen Hyatt hasn't performed to expectations. You could have a gap there very easily.
Yeah. You're talking about Slayton is the perfect Robin to any Batman out there.
Oh, yeah. Offensive line. You got right guard Greg Roten. Roten is going to be a free agent. And this position, quite frankly, guys, is always a position need. You're always having to add to that. Otherwise, you start slipping down a performance like we used to for all these years. Tight end. Daniel Bellinger has not bounced back from his sophomore slump this year. Theo Johnson has been improving this season, but what if he slumps in year two like Bellinger did? Chris Manhertz has been the primary blocking tight end for us. He's a free agent. This is a potential need. Edge. If we don't re-sign Azeez Ojulari, depth is a major issue. Even with him, it's a need, because he's the only decent backup we got.
Yeah, was a not such a great starter for us, but fantastic, depth piece.
Yeah. So, like I said, guys, that's the needs. As I see him on the roster there, I think that this is, again, not a bad team. I really think this is an underrated team. It's just we've had really bad quarterback play, but there's issues, and we got to establish those issues before you fix them, so you know what you want to attack bit by bit there. So, all right, let's get into fixing the Giants. Who to re-sign? Because that's the first step. Is you're going to get free agency before the free agency even begins. So you get the ability to go ahead and get your guys back in at that point. So looking at who do we want to re-sign? So we got three categories here: people that are priorities to re-sign, people we don't want back,
he comes at the curb, cut him out,
and others, meaning just we don't care what happens. I hate to see nonchalant about that, but there's some guys like, if you want to keep them, but they're not. It's not going to kill me if they leave.
Yeah.
So priority to re-sign: Darius Slayton.
100%.
Definitely would like to keep him. Jamie Gillen, punter.
Oh, bring him back.
He's a guy, and this is all, by the way, coming over from over the cap there, given a list of people that are going to be free agents. Greg Van Roten, we talked about him before. Azeez Ojulari.
Bless you.
Long snapper Casey Kreider. Tight end Chris Manhertz. We got all guys we've talked about here so far.
Yep.
Here's what we haven't talked about yet. Safety Jason Pinnock. He's been a starter. Is he replaceable? Yes. That's why we haven't talked about him until now, but he's still a guy I'd like to keep. And
Yeah,
if you
especially
better, then he's a third safety. Okay.
100%. Like, especially like if you keep him as depth, like that's a good spot.
I don't see him as a break the bank safety. I really don't.
No.
Yeah. So, linebacker Deontay Johnson, who's obviously been having injury issues and stuff like that. I'd like to keep him. He showed a lot of promise this preseason. I'd like to see what we can develop him into. And Tommy DeVito, we talked about him being a free agent as well. Again, if that's a guy you can keep as a third starter and do what we've been doing this year. Again, get a veteran, get a rookie. You got him as a third starter. Good to go. Good to go. Guys we don't want back. Isaiah Simmons. I don't know about y'all, but I'm done with the Isaiah Simmons experiment.
Let's say that's a project that's gone absolutely nowhere. It's something like, are you rebuilding an engine? Are you redoing like the transmission? Like, what are we doing here? Because the wheels aren't spinning, the car isn't moving, and he's just kind of in there in the block.
He's the Daniel Jones of defensive players. Like, it's been 5 years. There's still guys. Oh, he could develop. He could do this. He can do that. No, he can't. Point blank, he can't.
But dude, he's talented. He's just not fast enough to be a safety.
Now, it's just time to move on. He's not good at anything. He's okay at a lot of things.
Yeah.
I want talented players, not okay players. I'm done. Just absolutely done.
His problem is if you get him back cheap, like a vet minimum, like then okay, maybe I would look at it, but like what he's going to cost you to bring back, not worth it. Bye.
You took the vet minimum this year, very towards the end. I mean, nobody. I think people in the NFL have realized he's just not that good. It's just there's some fans out there get excited because he is athletic. He does look good in the uniform. Like he looks like an NFL player. It's just once they snap the ball, he stops looking good.
How good does he look in the uniform?
you know what I mean. Let's move on to Drew Lock. Drew Lock, another guy. Don't want back. I'm good.
Nope.
Good.
No, we got when we got him. Didn't want it.
And we said we didn't want him back the second we got him.
Yeah.
Another guy we didn't want back the second we got him again. This was a re-sign we didn't like, but DeRay Jackson. Gotta go.
Yep. Bye.
I'm done. He doesn't try to tackle very hard. He's losing his speed. He is just I'm good. There's a reason he was available in September we finally get him, or was it late August? Like,
yeah,
when nobody else wants him, you have to question it.
Yeah, especially after we cut him.
Yeah. So here's the guys that list as others. Matthew Adams, the linebacker. Gunnar Olszewski, the kick punt returner that also, I guess, technically is a wide receiver. Never does. He hasn't really played this year because of injury. Guard Aaron Stinney. I like him as a backup guard. It's not like there's not guys you can't get that are backup guards in this league. He's not the only one out there. Corner Elijah Riley. Again, has nothing to upset me. Just has nothing to excite me. Same with linebacker Patrick Johnson.
Yeah.
So, like I said, guys, that's to me what I would be looking at. A lot, some of those guys you're gonna have to try to keep them, because they're important parts of the team. Slayton's an important part of the team. Scottish Hammer, important part of the team. Greg Van Roten, older guy. You can probably get him cheaper in a year or two because he's not that much in demand. But Ojulari, I think, you're going to see him kind of get off that steam he's had lately. And I think that's going to drop his price back down again. And again, he's a great pass rusher. Doesn't play that run well. So we'll see what it does to his price. So, but again, that's the guys I'd re-sign, the guys I wouldn't want back, and the guys that, hey, bring him back. I don't care anyway. All right, let's talk about who to cut here, guys. We can't sign people if we don't cut people. And you can already tell one of them if you look at the picture there.
Walk off.
Womp, 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 womp. We're going to cut him. But the first obvious one, guys, is Daniel Jones. To be honest, he's cut. He's gone. We're waiting for the day. Day one, the minute we can, they're going to send that fax right over to Roger Goodell's office. He's been cut. That saves us $19.4 million, guys, by cutting him. So that's an obvious one. There's one other guy that I want to cut because the man can't stay healthy. He's getting older. And I think it's time. I think it's time for a younger guy, a guy who can stay healthy, a guy who can kick, because let's be honest, we've been able to replace him when he's gotten injured.
Yeah, time to kick rocks.
Graham Gano. Again, I don't want to dispute the fact that he was a great kicker in this league. I just don't think he can stay healthy anymore. Like that. It's been 2 years now.
2 years in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can save another $3.2 million by cutting him. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's just those two moves alone, guys, puts us from $42.3 million before any re-signings to $64.9 million, guys. That's a decent amount of money to grab there real quick. So $64 million is nothing to sniff at. That's the money. That's the money, guys. All right, but we got to pick up some players now. So we're going to get into free agency, the draft. But before we do that, guys, we're going to go ahead and pay the bills real quick for you guys. So let's pay the bills.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys. And if you haven't already, guys, if you're enjoying the content, if you're just a Giant fan that wants to know what's going on with the New York Giants, go ahead and do me a favor. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share, hit the bell if you're on YouTube there. Great way to go ahead and get notified when we do an episode there. We always do at least 3 episodes a week, sometimes 4. I think with a mix is 5 we've done before. We go crazy a little during free agency and the draft. So let's get into the free agency here, because that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a fun one. So let's get into free agency there. And you can already tell one of the guys there of who we're looking at there. So, we got to go ahead and look at fixing this roster, some issues we got. So the very first thing is a veteran quarterback. This would be somebody who can start the season without having to force a rookie to start right off the bat. You basically want somebody who's inexpensive, but that will understand and accept the role. Not everybody wants to take on that kind of role. So, you look at the guys that are available this offseason. Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold. I don't think he's a fit, but I'm going to put him on the list because he's probably the best free agent quarterback on this list, just based on how he's playing with the Vikings so far this year. Take out the fact he's got Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson. He's got a lot of weapons around him there. But he's playing decent, so I'll put him on the list. Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett. He's been a lifelong low-tier starter to high-tier backup. As Rob's burping there. What's going on there? Wow.
Well,
way to announce yourself back to the room, Rob, with the belch there. So yeah, again, so far for veteran quarterbacks, we got Darnold and Brissett. Chargers Taylor Heineke, who remember was with the Commanders a couple of years ago, plays with the Chargers now, played with the Falcons last year. Commanders backup quarterback Marcus Mariota. And they got the Panthers. You got the immortal Andy Dalton. The Steelers, Justin Fields, and Russell Wilson. You can put them both on the list there. Colts, Joe Flacco. All else fails. Listen, he's played decent when he's had to play this year too with the Colts. And I know your favorite, Rob. Browns quarterback Jameis Winston. These are all guys that'll be available. I think will be, minus Darnold, I think will be inexpensive. I think guys that you can go ahead and probably, again, have this kind of arrangement with. Hey, you're going to start for a while. You're going to mentor this guy. You're going to go ahead and, be a backup once he's ready, but it gives you a chance to get some time, some money. We're going to pay you a little better because you're going to start for a while for us. And I think you look at the higher end of those guys that have played that role already before. Mariota's played that role. Dalton's played that role. Flacco has played that role. Brissett has played that role. There's plenty of guys in there who will play that exact role already in the NFL.
There are. And there's also some guys that like you really want Brissett coming to see him play to teach quarterback. I don't know if that's the guy. I mean, Drake May's looking pretty good right now.
Yes, they say.
He's looking a lot better than
Some guys are bad quarterbacks because they're just not a good quarterback. Doesn't mean they're doing things right as far as preparation wise and that kind of stuff.
You're not wrong, but I'm saying like you look at that guy.
Brady.
Touche.
Yeah,
wrong. I mean, also Mariota like walked away from the Falcons. Granted, I agree with why he walked away.
Yeah.
The child's being born.
Kind of important.
Yeah.
But no issues otherwise. So
yeah,
like I said, a veteran quarterback, nice and simple. We got a couple other stuff there to go over. Now, needs wise, there's two other positions I'm gonna look at in free agency. So what we did is we listed for you guys the top 50 NFL free agents at positions of need. Because once the season's over, we'll do a lot of scouting, obviously, take a look at those options there. But you got Charvarius Ward, the 49ers corner, 28 years old, got a 58.0 PFF grade currently. Saints corner, Paulson Adebo, 25 years old, 64.3 PFF. Chargers corner, Asante Samuel Jr., 25 years old as well, 59.1 PFF grade. Lions corner, Carlton Davis III. I don't know if it's Esquire afterwards. I feel like there should be. 28 years old, 74.5 PFF grade. Vikings corner Byron Murphy, 26 years old, to 74.1 PFF grade. I like him a lot because he's probably playing the best of this group, one of the youngers, and plays inside and outside. So you can move him and shadow him, shadow corner, shadow receiver. Ravens, Tre'Davious White, 30 years old, 50.2 PFF grade, obviously former Bill. So there's a connection there with Shane and all, but 30 years old, he's kind of, not playing for it. Yeah. Be like a 1 year band-aid potentially for something there if you needed to. But, Deontay Banks, for reference, guys, 54.7 PFF grade. So these are all guys that can compete, if not beat him out pretty easily, I feel like. Defensive line. There's not a lot of defensive linemen, guys, in the free agency. Got to give you fair warning on that. There are not a lot of defensive linemen, guys. You got the Cowboys have one available, which I love stealing from the division. That's always something I love doing. Like, let's take Ray from that division and just make them even weaker, especially the Cowboys, already weak as it is.
Love it.
Adigazua, 26 years old, 62.2 PFF. And if you want to go for something crazy, and I don't think this is going to happen, guys. A, I don't think we have the money to do it. And B, I don't think he's going to leave Pittsburgh. Cameron Hayward is also a free agent. 35 years old, got a 90.1 PFF grade. And it would not be an offseason, even though he wasn't one of the top 50, without me including Calais Campbell. He is a free agent again. Again, he's been playing good for the Dolphins. Now he's been playing good for everybody he goes to. I don't know why. He hasn't been a Giant yet, unless he just doesn't want to be. But like I said,
could be.
That's what we got there. So let's get into everybody's favorite, usually an off-season thing to do, but because it feels like our off-season's already started, we're doing it. We're doing it and doing it well. It's time for our mock draft, guys. It's time to mock the draft. So
I'll make a mockery of you. Ha 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 ha.
We've been making a mockery of this league for years, so let's go for it. So
yeah. About a decade.
All right. So after this weekend, we're at the 5th overall pick, guys. Now, something happened that I don't expect to happen in the draft. We'll be very frank on that. 5th overall pick, we still have the guy we wanted. I think we'll have to trade up to get this guy if we're at the 5th. Personally. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The clock can change between now and then. It also depends on who's there. 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. Who's number one?
Who does number one? Who for? Number one is the Jaguars right now. So they're taking Travis Hunter in that scenario.
Yep.
The best quarterback. I'd have to look it up. I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, that's what I say. There's not many teams that are.
Oh, I would disagree. You got the Titans. You got the Browns. Those guys are ahead of us. So I'll get you the order real quick. Here we go. Jacksonville again. They won't take a quarterback.
Yeah.
Tennessee very well could. Cleveland very well could. Las Vegas very well could.
Well, when is the Browns? When are they paying?
It doesn't even matter on that. You could just sit him on the bench at that point and start your young guy. The best way to combat having to get a second quarterback is to get a cheaper one. Getting a rookie deal is the cheapest way of doing it.
Touche.
So, but anyway, in this scenario, Cam Ward was still available, quarterback out of Miami. So, yeah, we got Cam Ward in this, guys. Now, I saw the comment here. Derek Jones says, if the Giants get Shador, I'll remain a Giants fan. He actually went number 4, ironically enough, to the Raiders, which I know is some place he keeps on getting, mocked to by a lot of people there. So, but I'm fine with Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is probably the one I'd pick if I had both available right now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we talked about that last week as well.
Oh yeah.
Well,
we did a full pick about the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you lost your power.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that's our biggest need taken care of right there with the guy I think is probably, at least right now in my mind, the best quarterback in this draft. And if you're able to somehow stay where you're at and get him, that's a win. That's a win all day long.
100%.
So, second round, because we won't talk too much about Ward. If you want to hear about Ward, go over to our quarterback preview we had last week there with Dash from Big Dash Knows. We went all over the information with Cam Ward, even did a nice comparison video with him and Shador Sanders as well. So, second round pick 36 we're at. Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Now, here's a Bleacher Report had to say. Kenneth Grant is a massive defensive tackle who can be a gap filler against the run. He has pop in his hands to win at the point of attack and gain control of the block. That, combined with the sturdy base, makes him very difficult to move one-on-one and decent against double teams. He might concede a yard when taking on combo blocks, but he can dig his heels in the ground to avoid getting pushed too far down the field or out of his gap. Guys, if that doesn't sound like the exact player we need.
Yeah. Sounds like an absolute wall of a player.
A mountain of a man who's good against the run and fills a gap. Exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. Taking it. Done. Sign me up. Round 3, pick 67. Fill another need here. Kyle Kennard, edge out of South Carolina. The Draft Network said Kennard can force runs back into the flow of the defense. Kennard also plays with great effort chasing down runs, plays backside. As a pass rusher, Kennard is most effective on the edge of the defense. At the snap, Kennard has an explosive first step, and he gets upfield quickly to win around the arc. So, yeah, just a good, balanced overall player there, guys. That's what we need. That's what we need right there. Now, as Derek says, we need, a day and a corner. I'm assuming means something else besides a day. Let me know what you mean by that.
Bidet. He needs a bidet.
A bidet. You need a bidet. That's a whole separate issue. But the corner part, listen, guys, I would have loved to get a corner in the first, 3 picks. Would have loved it. There just was none, and I'm not going to reach. Whenever we do mocks, guys, we don't reach. So, he says DT. Yeah, we got the DT already. But we never like to reach in the show, guys, because whenever you reach for a player, you're destined to get a flop. Yeah. But round 4, pick 103, we do get a corner here finally. Now, keep in mind, we also said we want to get a corner in free agency. So we already fixed that top corner spot in the free agency. But we're going to get a young quarterback here in Quincy Riley, cornerback out of Louisville. The Draft Network says Quincy Riley projects as a mid-round pick with the potential to develop into a starter later in his career. His athleticism and ball skills give him a strong foundation, but he must improve his speed, reaction time, and zone coverage awareness to make a consistent impact at the next level. Now, when I hear got to improve his speed, reaction time, and zone coverage, that's all stuff that can get taught. And I have a lot of faith in Jerome Henderson, our defensive backs coach.
He's done great jobs thus far.
Yeah. Like I said, this is, and this is a kid that I think that has some real potential there. Pick number 5. I'm sorry, round 5. Pick number 134. Pat Bryant, wide receiver out of Illinois. And tell me this is not a need we have in this team for years, basically. We thought we filled a couple of times, just haven't been able to do it. Fantasy Pro says it's no secret that I love physical wide receivers who can go up and get the football. That's exactly what Pat Bryant offers the Illinois offense. Listed at 6'3", 200 pounds, the senior wide receiver has the strength and size to carve out a role for an NFL offense. Guys, we haven't had a big, tall receiver that can just throw the ball up to in forever. We really haven't. And when you're in the end zone and you have a young quarterback, sometimes that's their best friend.
100%. Third high, jump ball, let's go.
Yeah. Get a guy like him, get Theo Johnson rolling, and you got some nice red zone, goal line situation targets that are going. So now pick 5. Sorry, round 5. Pick 155. Now you all know that I'm not a fan of Eric Gray. Rob's not a fan of Eric Gray. We think Eric Gray is a waste of a pick, waste of a.
He's a gray space.
So I also don't think that Devin Singletary is going to be around for much longer. I think he'll be around next year because his contract makes it where it doesn't make sense to cut him unless you want to do a post June 1st and split the hit between the 2 years. But you have to plan now. When you're in later rounds, you plan now for next year. So we're getting ourselves a running back that's going to replace Devin Singletary after this next season coming up. And that's Jonah Coleman, running back out of Oregon. 33rd team says, soft hands out of the backfield, natural pass catcher with expanding route tree and yak ability. Thick, compact frame at 225 pounds, punishes defenders, and consistently falls forward for extra yardage. High-level vision and processing, patiently sets up blocks and exploits cutback lanes. So, a couple of things there. Can catch the ball. I'll take it, can catch the ball. But my big thing is thick, compact frame, punishes defenders, falls forward. Guys, that's the complete opposite of Tyrone Tracy Jr. Am I not right?
Yeah.
That's not to knock Tracy, but his thing is more his elusiveness, his speed. He's not the bulldozer down the middle guy.
Yeah, you're talking about like a guy that's really just going to run straight up and hard.
Yep. Yeah, and Coleman's not Brendan Jacobs. I'm not trying to say that. He's not 250 pounds. He's not nothing crazy like that. But
yeah, let's be honest. What type of players you're talking about? You're talking about a finesse guy who, once he gets tackled, he's going to fall down gracefully compared to a guy that's just going to fight for a couple extra yards. It's not a knock. It's not a knock. But listen, Tracy doesn't have to fight for an extra yards just because of the way he plays.
Yep.
So,
and he's a smaller back. He's a smaller back, barely over 200 pounds, guys. He's not a big back.
So, like what he's doing, it's not a knock. Like if he's like you said, Jacobs, Henry, like you're one of these big guys. Yeah. You could fight against a 340 pound lineman for an extra yard or two. But when the guy's only got 40% of his body mass on you, like just let it happen.
Yeah, like I said, I think that
play the extra down.
I think it's a 5th round pick. It's where you want to start drafting running backs and try him out. If he works out, he's a perfect complement to Tracy. If he doesn't work out, it's a 5th round pick. It's not the end of the world.
100%.
So, 7th round, we're going to this last round here. Pick 218. We're getting the guy with the coolest name, Thor Griffith, defensive tackle out of Louisville. Like I said, guys, we are ramping up this defensive line. The free agency is not really necessarily the place to do it. So we're getting a couple guys in the draft. So, we already went ahead in the 2nd round and got Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. Now we're getting Thor Griffith in the later 7th round here out of Louisville. So 2nd Louisville player, by the way, today. NFL Draft Diamond says, you know what? How'd that happen here? We got the wrong thing here. Somehow I copied and pasted Jonah Coleman's for the both at that point. But yeah, Thor Griffin, guys, is a guy that is exactly what you're looking for. A guy who is a potential project player because he hasn't played at a bigger school yet. Came out of Harvard, actually, before going to Louisville. And
super smart guy.
You would think that. I mean, you kind of don't make, Harvard without being from there. But he's been a guy that's been up and coming like that there. It's from NFL Draft Buzz. Thor Griffith, the defensive tackle from Louisville, has made waves in the college football world with his impressive journey. Originally from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, his path to the NFL draft began at Harvard, where he spent 4 years before transferring to Louisville for his final year of eligibility. So, yeah, like I said, really, and the guy graduated, by the way, from Harvard, guys. Graduated with a degree in economics. So it's not like he's a guy who just was in it for football and, they just kind of passed him through grade-wise at that Harvard. He got a couple of other schools look at him too. Ohio State looked at him. Michigan looked at him as well. But he wanted to go to a place where he would be able to start right off the bat because he only had 1 year of eligibility left. So he chose Louisville. Again, a guy that I'm intrigued by. A 7th-round pick, that's what you're going with. A guy that's intrigues you. Guy's got a brain. The guy's a big frame. And he's a guy who has room to grow because he hasn't had the same kind of talent level of coaching that he'll now get in the NFL. That's the guy I'll take a chance on all day long, especially at a position of need.
Yeah.
Especially when I've already got the guy in the 2nd round that I think is going to be a long-term starter in this league. Because now I can sit this guy, let him learn the right way and not rush him. So, now, last pick in the draft, guys. Round 7, pick 245. What did we say earlier? You are always picking people at this position because you should always be looking to upgrade this position. Always be looking to draft and get guys going at that point in this position. Ruben Fothery, the 2nd, offensive tackle, Texas A&M. The Draft Network said Fothery, the 2nd, looks eerily similar to Patrick Paul and Daniel Flaus of past drafts, but what he showed me in the run game makes me even more excited than his comparable predecessors. I see him as a developmental prospect, but I also believe there's a path for him to make an immediate impact for an O-line needy team. His game is by no means a finished product, but I would have had a hard time seeing him go anywhere past the 4th round. We see that we got him in the 7th round. They said they couldn't see him past the 4th round. He simply got too much to like to not be willing to take a chance on him. I'll take that, guys, all day long.
Yeah.
Again, you got a guy who dropped. Again, you're talking mock drafts. Who knows what's going to happen? We've had guys in the 7th round that went the 3rd round, 4th round, stuff like that in some of these mock drafts. You never know what's going to happen between now and then. But if you got it, some people are saying, listen, literally could be a early day 3 pick, and you're getting him late day 3. It's steal. And it's a position of need. It's a position that you're always needing. So, like I said, that to me is a draft. You filled a lot of holes, and you did it without reaching. You got your quarterback of the future. You got your defensive tackle to pair, hopefully long term, with Dexter Lawrence. You got Kennard at that point to give you edge, depth, which is something we've been sorely missing. You got Riley to hopefully develop him into a key part of the secondary. You got a big, tall receiver, which we haven't had in a while. You get a thunder to the lightning at the running back position. You got a developmental defensive tackle. And you got another guy for your offensive line to develop as well. Granted, we did this, so we're tooting on the horns here. That's a home run draft to me.
Yeah.
How many of those players pan out? You never know. But that's a home run. So, all righty, guys. Let's recap real quick what we did here in this off-season plan. And then we'll get into our quick scores update from last week there. But we're doing a quicker version than we usually do for this because we've already been in with you guys for a little while here. So, oops, I put the wrong one there. Let's go over the plan recap here. So, first off, we said we're still on the fence on Daboll and Shane. We got to see how the rest of this goes at that point there. But either both go or both stay. So, we said that it was time to look at what needs we got. And we said needs are quarterback, outside corner, defensive line, wide receiver, offensive line, tight end, and edge. We want to re-sign Slayton, Gillum, Van Roten, Ojulari, Kreider, Manhurts, Pinnock, Deontay Johnson, and Tommy DeVito. We don't want Simmons, Drew Lock, or Dory Jackson. The rest we can care less either way. We're cutting Daniel Jones and Graham Gano to create, good $22.6 million in cap space there. Free agency, we're getting a veteran corner. We're getting a top as best we can in the corner position at that point to be a number one corner for us. We'd like to upgrade the defensive line, but there's not a lot of players out there, so who knows who will or not. We're drafting Cam Ward with our first round pick. We got a defensive tackle, edge, corner, wide receiver, running back. Another defensive tackle and an offensive line, so we're filling up depth. We're getting guys that fill positions without reaching. And to me, that's a lot better of a roster. Mostly because of one thing, guys. Because we got quarterbacks. We improved the most important position on the whole goddamn team. That's the name of the game, guys. That's the name of the game. So,
100%.
All right, let's get into our picks here, guys, because we got to go through that real quick. Again, we've been an hour, 20 minutes here with you guys, so we're going to do a condensed version compared to how we usually do. We're just going to give you guys back and forth on the picks here. So we start off Thursday night, Commanders at the Eagles. And oops, I forgot to put my scores up here. Tell it's been a long day at work, right? When you forget to do something like that. Kind of need the scores. Let's see here. I don't know why this doesn't come up. There we go. Okay, so Commanders at the Eagles. There was game 1. Eagles won 26-18. You and I got the winners right as far as the Eagles winning their overall. It was a 4-point spread at that point for the Eagles. So let's see here. So that was a 8-point win. So yeah, you and I both got that one wrong. I actually put you for the win that way. I gave you an extra point, but you and I both got the under of the 49.09. So I got to change that. Oh, I just realized we're gonna that just made a major change this week.
It made a change. We're gonna have to double check all this now.
Go ahead. That's why we go through these double check, because you know I make mistakes. Right. I made it early. So next up for you, Rob.
Up next, you got the Packers going into Chicago in a very upsetting game because Chicago actually had the opportunity to win this game, but guess what? They nuffed it, and the Packers stuff it, and the Bears lose this game, and the Bears lose this 20-19. And Drew and I both took the Packers to win. I took the Bears to cover, where Drew, you did not. So it gives me an extra point on you. And we both took the under. It gives me the first trifecta of the week.
There we go. All right. Next up after that, we got the blowout of the week here, basically. The one that's going to probably cost some people some jobs here. And that is the Lions at the Jags. Lions trashed them 52-6, guys. You and I both picked the Lions to win, so we got that. There's a 14-point spread, though. We thought the Lions wouldn't beat that, but they did. So neither one of us got the points there. We've also got the under. We were wrong with that one. So we got the overall winner, and that's about it. And let's be honest, a 3-year-old could have picked that game.
Yeah, jeez. The over-under could have went right to the Lions. Anyway, up next, you had the Raiders going into Miami. Yeah. Over-under goes to the Raiders go to Miami playing the Dolphins. The good old Fins in a 2-filled game, which is, kind of what to be expected. We both took the Fins to win this game. I did take the Raiders in the cover. They have fallen off their bandwagon. They have been fantastic against the spread up until last week, and now they are 0-2 against the spread. And we both. You took the over, I took the under, and Drew, you get yourself the first trifecta every week.
I get a point.
You get a point, extra point.
You get a point, and you get a point, and you get a point.
Everyone gets a point.
Everyone gets a point. All right, we got the Rams at the Patriots here, guys, and that is a game that, let's be honest here, unless you're a Ram fan or a Patriot fan, you probably weren't watching, but we're still putting money on it. Rams win 28-22. So you and I both got that correctly. I went ahead and put the Patriots to beat the spread, which they did not. You wisely did not do that, so therefore you got a point there. I got the over. You got the under, so I get a point there. So we both get 2 points on that one.
Ooh. Up next, talk about the toilet bowl game of the week. You had the Browns going into New Orleans. Yeah, nice lackluster games. Saints win 35-14 against the Browns. We both took the Saints to win this game smartly. We also took the Saints in spread because it's only a 1 point difference. And we both took the under, so it gave us both 2 points and no trifecta.
Whoop, whoop. All right. Next up after that, we got the Ravens at the Steelers, guys, which was a very good matchup, as we kind of expected it to be. Divisional matchup there. Big rivalry. Steelers pull it out, though, 18-16 there, guys. So you and I both got the Ravens to win. Hold on. I got I put the Steelers to win. You put the Ravens to win. I gave you an extra point again. I must have been drunk when I was doing this. So I got the point there. You picked the Ravens to go ahead and beat the spread, which they did. I picked the Steelers to cover the spread. They did not. So we are good there. Hold on. What did I do here? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the Steelers were gaining 3 points. You win there. I made so many mistakes in this thing this week, apparently.
Oh, my God.
Seriously.
What's
And then we both picked the unders. We were both right there. So in the end, you and I both got 2 points, but you are leading this as we started the segment, and now I'm in the lead because of all the mistakes I made. This is not going well, Rob. Maybe we should end the segment here before you keep going down further.
Or it's going to come back and bite you, but whatever. Also, fun fact there, Steelers are, I think, the fourth team. This is the fourth game this year where there's been no touchdown scored where that team won the game, and the Steelers have 2 of those wins.
That's crazy.
So
first one was the Falcons game week 1, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. And then there's the other one. Yeah. Absurd. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, you get the Vikings going into Tennessee playing the Titans. The Vikings win this game 23-13. We both take the Vikings to win this game. Obviously, easy peasy. We both take the Vikings to cover the spread. We both took the other. So trifectas all around. You get a trifecta. You get a trifecta. You get a trifecta. You all get a trifecta.
And that was our game of the week. We had said everybody should put money on that one there. So next up, you got the Colts at the Jets there, guys. Woo, that was a nail biter. But you and I both lost any faith whatsoever in the Jets. We picked the Colts to win and the Colts to cover. And Colts did win, but they definitely did not cover. It was 28-27, really a 1 point differential there. You and I both picked the under for that game as well because, it's the Jets. But no, it went in the over, so we only got the points at that point for the Colts to win overall.
Anthony Richardson looked absolutely he looked absolutely good that game. So kudos to him. Bounced back after being benched. But going into the upset of the week, let's talk about the Falcons going into the Mile High City over there playing the Broncos. We both took the Falcons to win this game, but guess what? They got spanked 38-6 by the Broncos.
And not the fun way.
Not the fun way at all, because we both took the Falcons to win, the Falcons cover, and we both took what did you do here?
What?
You took the over, I took the under. How we both get 0?
4. Even. It's a push.
It's a push. That's right. I fill that in. Who's the goof now?
So we both get 0. Yeah. Give it to either one of us. It's a push. It was 44-point spread when you and I picked.
And it's
so
0-0.
That's a lose-lose situation for us there. So after that, you had the Seahawks at the 49ers there, guys. And that was a little bit of an upset there. The Seahawks ended up winning 20-17 there. Now, you and I both had picked the Seahawks to beat the spread because it was 6.5 point spread, but we both picked the Niners to win, so we each get a point there. I got the under. You had the over, so I got an extra point there as well. And then we're to the game of the week, Rob. What happened?
Game of the week, which I absolutely 100% called, where you done Chiefs.
I done goofed.
Yeah, you done Chiefs there. So you had the Chiefs going into Buffalo. Eating them wings, jumping through tables, having some good time.
The slap
Circle the wagon.
There's a slap machine. Like Buffalo.
Yeah.
Last cruise I'm on is that so often that my phone started giving me gives you suggestions. It was giving me suggestions for fake buffaloes I can buy at Home Depot and stuff like that. That's bad.
Well,
I think they're gambling too much of the trip.
Talk about a very exciting week. So you had the Chiefs going into Buffalo, playing the Bills. Josh Allen looked absolutely amazing against Patrick Mahomes will also look great. But the Bills win 30-21. Drew, you took the Chiefs. I took the Bills. And guess what? I took the Bills to cover. You took the Chiefs. So I guess we 2 points up on you.
I overthought it because Josh Allen always wins in the regular season.
That's
Patrick
what I
Mahomes
said.
always wins in the postseason.
Yep, and that's exactly what they said as soon as the game was over.
Yep.
See you in a few games.
Yep. I overthought.
So that being said, we both took the over. Gives you 1 point to my 4 because I got the trifecta.
Oh, yeah. You needed it too. Oh,
I need it.
So, Bengals at the Chargers here, guys. And yeah, this was a bigger score than I think a lot of people thought it'd be. 34-27, the Chargers win. You know, we talk about how good the Chargers are defensively. We forgot about how bad the Bengals are defensively in the process. So, I picked the Chargers. You would pick the Bengals. And same with the spread pick as well. So I got my 2 points there to none. You and I both picked the under, though, so we didn't get any points in that part there. As of right now, because we're doing this now, it's Monday, 10:36 at that point for you guys. Monday Night Football is still going on. Let's see what we got for a current score here.
We got 20-10 Texans over at Dallas.
Yep, and that's 4 minutes and 16 seconds left. I got in the third based on that. Now, if that happens, you and I got a trifecta coming up in this last game.
I'm going to think we get 2 out of 3, which ain't that bad.
Yeah, I'll take it. But either way, you and I picked the same exact thing for this game, and as of right now, I'm up by 1 point this week. So that'll extend my lead to a 6-point spread that I have overall so far in the season after 11 weeks, which is not great, but it still wins, and I'll still take a win. A win is a win. Is a win.
Is a win.
Exactly. So, all righty, guys. That's going to do it for us here tonight. We'll be back again for you guys Wednesday doing a preview of the Buccaneers game. We got a game going, guys. We got a game. And we may have a special guest for that one, too, as well. There's some talks about some people here that I know in Tampa possibly coming on. Talk a little Bucks and Giants here. A much more exciting game now that Tommy DeVito is in. I think, listen, I actually say we have a shot, maybe. But listen, it depends on how much you want to
It's a shot. It's a shot.
A shot.
Shots, everybody.
All right, guys. So we'll see you guys again. Again, if you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button. Send a friend. We suck at marketing. We count on you all to do it there. Also, welcome to all our new people there as well on YouTube here. We've had a slew of new subscribers here in the last couple of days that liked our videos we did on the quarterbacks at that point in this upcoming draft there. So appreciate you all that did sign in there. We'll see you guys again Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn. And of course, as always, we're also available at all the audio podcast platforms. That's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there, Amazon. So if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe there as well. Appreciate you guys for listening / watching as always. And as always, Giant fans,
go team! Dallas just missed that 4th down conversion. Go team!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.